Well, the Minnesota Twins have blown up this team in 2025. Obviously, they weren't having the season that they won, and they did blow it up. Now, let's take a look at this team's last 5 seasons. Now, we can kind of tell the trend they were on. Obviously, in 2023, making the playoffs, win those postseason games for the first time in a while. And then, obviously, in 2024, they were pretty average. And then 2025, the start of the season, it really wasn't not going well for this team. They kind of brought it back a little bit throughout May and June, and then completely fell off going to that trade deadline, and they decided to blow up the team. There's only a couple good players remaining on this team left, and we'll kind of see where their futures kind of lie with the Twins, whether they get traded or not. It's very interesting. But yeah, the Twins did have a decent record with 70 wins this year, but I do think it's going to be a full rebuild now. They've had a little bit of success, but I just don't see them doing really good moving forward. Now let's take a look at their contract situation, because they do have a couple players still on contract. Obviously, Byron Buxton is still on this team for 3 more seasons at $15 million, and then Pablo Lopez is also on this team for 2 more seasons at the $21 million mark. So both of those players are pretty much like the star players now, right? After everyone basically left. I mean, they still got good players like Ryan Jefferson, Joe Ryan on this team, Royce Lewis, obviously phenomenal player. But yeah, that's basically it. They don't have too many players on this team left that are really good. Obviously, they basically traded everyone during the trade deadline. It was literally crazy, but these are some of the big players left on their books. With their guys they have under contract and with their pre-arbitration and arbitration guys, it looks like they're going to spend $78.3 million in 2026. If we take a look what they spent in 2025, it was $129 million. So I do expect it to be a little bit lower just because they got a lot of their good players out the door. So I feel like they are going to be spending less in the 2026 season. So we'll see what it ends up being for the Twins. We'll see if they sign anyone in the offseason, but we'll kind of just wait and see. I don't really expect them to, just with the players they have left and kind of with the trend of this team is going. Because to me, it looks like it's going to be a lot of younger players kind of leading this Twins team moving forward. And why don't we take a look at who those players are? Let's take a look at the active roster for this team. Obviously, I still think the rotation is pretty good. I like Pablo Lopez. I like Joe Ryan. I like Obor. I think those are 3 solid players when it comes to this rotation. Obviously, we'll see how Bradley does with his first full season with the Twins, but I don't really know what to expect. I think those 3 players are going to be good, and we'll kind of see how the rest do. Obviously, they got a decent amount of guys in that rotation. And obviously, their bullpen is completely blown up at this point. They only have 4 players as it stands right now, so they're definitely going to need to rebuild this in the offseason. Whether that could be signing different free agents. I know there's a lot of free agent pitchers on the market, so they could definitely tap into that. Let's take a look at the starting 9 for this team. Obviously, Ryan Jefferson is probably going to be the starting catcher, and I think we can imagine Clemens will probably start at first base. At second base, they could pretty much start any of these players, to be all the way honest. We'll kind of see who the best player ends up being when opening day comes around. Obviously, Royce Lewis is going to play third base, and Brooks Lee is going to play shortstop. When we look towards this outfield, we already know Byron Buxton is going to be out there in center field as one of their better outfielders. And I can imagine James Outman is going to play either left or right field. He's definitely a solid outfielder. And then honestly, for right field or left field, it could be anyone. I definitely have Byron Buxton and Outman playing probably every day. And we'll kind of just see who the other player ends up being. And then DH, same thing. They could use any of these players. I think of the Twins, it's a super young team. So we'll kind of see where they move going forward. And we're going to see why it's a super young team, because they have 4 guys on the top 100 that are definitely going to be very good players. Now coming at number 10 is going to be Walter Jenkins, obviously the first round draft pick in 2023 for the Minnesota Twins, and he's played on 4 different teams in 2025, and he's definitely played really solid so far. Obviously played the most amount of games at 84 games, and he's batting at 286, which is very good. And obviously played most of his games at that AA level and played really good. I mean, 309 batting average in AA is extremely good. Went up to AAA, batted at 242 in 23 games, so I definitely expect him to be back at that AAA level again. His ETA is 2026, so I could definitely see Walter Jenkins being up in 2026, especially starting in that outfield where there's a spot open for him. So yeah, definitely going to be a good player, definitely the right pick in that draft, and I'm definitely excited to see him play in Minnesota. Now coming at number 52 is going to be Colleen Culpepper. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce his name. He played in 113 games in 2025, and he split both of them between high A and AA, and he played really good at both of those levels. And he's supposed to be up in 2027 as a shortstop. I mean, he's definitely got a clear path to the MLB, I think. Now that Carlos Correa is gone from this team, I could definitely see his path to the league, and we'll see how he does in 2026. Obviously, I definitely think he could probably play at the AAA level after just seeing his AA numbers, but we'll see what the Twins want to do with him. He's obviously still got some time to develop, but definitely going to be a solid player. And he was the Twins 2024 first round pick at 21 as well, so that's where he's coming from. Now coming in at number 57 is going to be Edward Tate. Now he was kind of all over the place in 2025. I'm pretty sure he was in that Duran trade from the Phillies, because as you guys can see, he played with multiple teams in 2025, pretty much all at the same level. I mean, he played in 112 games, about at a 253 throughout the minor league. So definitely room for improvement here, but definitely played well at that high level with the Phillies. Obviously been at 296, which is very good. good. And then still batted 250 with the Twins high A team. So there's definitely room for improvement here. His ETA is 2028, so he's definitely got a lot of time to develop. And he definitely probably needs a lot more games with the Twins organization to kind of see his path to the pros. But obviously could be a long-term catcher in the future. We'll kind of see what happens with him. Coming in at number 69 is Emmanuel Rodriguez. Now he's been with this team for a decent amount of time in the minor leagues, but he finally got back up to that AAA level, played in 65 games, and he batted a 269. So that was his numbers. He hasn't played a lot of games per season. I don't know if he's just been getting injured or something like that, but he was signed in 2019 and he's still playing in the minor leagues all the way up till 2026 maybe. They do have him as an MLB player and his ETA was 2025. So we'll kind of see if he gets to start next year with the Twins, and we'll kind of see what happens with his path to the pros. But as an outfielder for this team, we'll kind of see there might be a couple spots open, so we just gotta wait and see with him. But definitely a long time minor leaguer, and we'll see if he gets a shot to the pros. So those are the 4 guys on the Twins top 100. Definitely some solid players on there, and I'm definitely excited to see their path to the pros. Now let's take a look at the Twins attendance, because it actually was pretty down in 2025. If we look at the year-over-year difference from 2024 to 2025, they were actually down almost 200K, which puts them at number 25 across the league. So obviously not the best compared to 2024. I'm not sure if that has anything to do with the weather though, because in 2025 they had 1.7 million fans come to the stadium with about 21,000 average per game, which that puts them at number 24 in the league when it comes to attendance in 2025. So definitely an interesting story there. Obviously definitely tailed off towards the second half of the season for sure. Obviously with the weather being so cold in Minnesota, their April, May games tend to struggle when it comes to attendance. So yeah, definitely not the best year for them, but I think there's some outside factors to that. Now let's take a look at the Minnesota Twins draft position for 2026. They actually come in as the number 2 team on odds. They have a 22.18% chance to get the first round pick. Obviously having Colorado and the Nationals be ineligible for draft definitely helps out their situation when it comes to odds. So we'll see what happens with the Twins in the draft lottery. Obviously definitely could get a good shot when it comes to getting that first round pick. But whatever happens with the Twins, they will get a top pick, which will be very beneficial for the organization. So that's the Minnesota Twins 2026 season preview. My personal prediction on this team, I do think they're heavily going to struggle when it comes to this season. I really think they're on the rebuild phase when it comes to this Twins team. After they just traded everyone, they still have a couple good players, but I can even see those guys getting traded, especially if they want out of the Twins organization. So my prediction is I think they're definitely going to be 4th or 5th in that AL Central with the Chicago White Sox. I just really don't see this team being very good. But that's kind of my thoughts on this team. We'll see if they're better than their 2025 record. That would be a probably successful season for them. I kind of doubt that, but we'll kind of wait and see. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about the Minnesota Twins moving forward? Where do you guys have this team in your predictions? But with that being said, make sure you guys follow me on all my socials down below in the description. Follow me on X for all of our updates. Follow me on Instagram for all of our clips. And then if you want to play in our MLB The Show tournament coming on December 13th, definitely make sure you guys join the Discord for more information. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everyone.